Hello and good evening. Just for a minute to check the cameras and the mics. I hope everything is good. Yep, everything sounds good. Let me just put this camera a little bit up. There we go. Right, how's everyone? Good evening now, officially. It's ready for live. This is Monday. The Late Smoke is the channel. You're with me, Ray, and this is episode 66 of the weekly cigar chat show nonsense rant. I mean, I can say there's a lots of different epithets here. But basically, what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about cigars and a few other stuff. How is everyone? How was the week been? Finally, the weather may be looking good, especially in my part of the world. It's not that cold anymore. Actually, it was like 15 degrees yesterday and the day before. So spring is coming, not the winter. Like the popular quote was "winter is coming," but no, it's not the winter now. And you are with me in another episode, and we're live in Instagram and YouTube. Feel free to shoot your comments, suggestions, chat, questions, anything. Don't wait until the last moment. I mean, I know some people like to wait until the show is done, but yeah, we are live. It's as I mentioned, episode 66. In the show today, what we're going to talk about. So, as usual, I'm going to tell you what I'm smoking. I haven't lit my cigar yet, which is usually it's quite unusual, but today I'm gonna start the cigar now because it's not a big cigar. Then I'm gonna tell you what's my pairing as a tea suggestion tonight. Then we're gonna talk about the few interesting news from the industry, of course, the best and the worst cigar of the week, and we're gonna finish with some very very interesting selection from the vault. So, hey. Freud cigars in my Instagram, looking sharp. Well, I'm trying. So what I'm smoking today, it's a cigar which I haven't lit because it's a relatively small cigar, 46 ring gauge, just under 50, 46 ring gauge, just under 5 inch. What we have in my hand, it's a cigar which is part of a advent calendar, actually. Not many brands do advent calendars, but there's a few which did it in the past. I almost dropped my lighter. What we have here, this is Tatuaje, and this is Jekyll, part of the Monster series. So Tatuaje did the advent calendar in 2021 and 2022. Unfortunately, didn't hit the way they maybe expected. They wasn't very very popular. All the cigars from the advent calendar pretty much that size, 4.5, 46 ring gauge, beautiful, like a short Corona, quick smokes, maybe in December when it's usually cold and you can't smoke full-size cigars. So all the cigars in the calendar are this size, and pretty much most of them are actually made specially for the calendar. So this size doesn't exist in most of the cigars, including this Monster. But I haven't smoked this one personally. I mean, I smoke it on the original sizes as a part of the Monsters, on the Lanceros as well as the Skinny Monsters, but not on the advent calendar one. What's interesting on this cigar, of course, it's made in Nicaragua by my father's cigars, and we have Nicaraguan filler and binder, and very, very interesting and unique wrapper, which is called Ecuadorian Sancti Spiritus. I mean, even the name is cool. I mean, Sancti Spiritus, the Saint Ghost, or I don't know how you can translate that directly in English. The Holy Ghost, maybe. I don't know. English is not my stronger forte. So, Sancti Spiritus as a tobacco, maybe some people doesn't know, but I was fascinated by the story of it. So the story of Sancti Spiritus is a hybrid. I believe he's created actually from Dom Pepin. He was the one who wants to experiment with that. So he wanna use a very, very old, authentic style tobacco and origin and a breed, which is called Pelo de Oro. Pelo de Oro used to be. I mean, there's a lots of different informations here, but the ones I believe and the ones I feel right, it's the Cuban tobacco before we know it as a Cuban tobacco nowadays used to be a Pelo de Oro breed, but unfortunately the diseases and everything in Cuba doesn't vibe with the Pelo de Oro. That's why Pelo de Oro disappeared from the map. Lots of people try to grow Pelo de Oro in different countries, but it just doesn't work and doesn't vibe with the climate, with the diseases. And very few countries actually can grow Pelo de Oro without any issues. One of the countries is Peru. I believe pretty much the 95% of the Pelo de Oro in the world came in from Peru. So Don Pepino was fascinated. He wanted to use Pelo de Oro, but unfortunately cannot grow Pelo de Oro. So he created this hybrid, which hybridize, mix together Pelo de Oro and Criollo, and that give you the Pelo de Oro as a name and as a not an origin, but as a style of tobacco. So you have a Criollo and you have a Pelo de Oro, both very light, very sweet, very tasty, not harsh, not peppery style tobaccos. And this specific one is grown in Ecuador because Ecuador have the natural cloudiness, so you want that natural shade. Also, Ecuador is probably one of the best countries to grow wrapper if you want wrapper which is more on the milder side. If you don't want a heavy, dark, sun-grown, rich wrapper, probably go to Ecuador. I don't think there's a company in the world which doesn't use Ecuadorian tobacco. I mean, we talk about Mexican San Andres, sometimes Cameroon, Sumatra, all kind of different tobaccos, Dominican, Nicaraguan, but I don't think there's a single company in the world of cigars which doesn't use a single leaf of Ecuadorian tobacco. So, I mean, I can think of even top brands which predominantly use their own tobacco. They still use Ecuadorian. I mean, Davidoff use Ecuadorian, Padron use Ecuadorian, Fuente use Ecuadorian tobacco. Who else? I mean, every single brand uses Ecuadorian. Of course, we're not talking about Cuba. Maybe in the future they will start use it. Who knows? But yeah, so this is Sancti Spiritus, fascinating tobacco. As far as I know, it was used mostly in La Tellier brands and blends. So Letelier is another Tatuaje line of cigars, which is technically owned by Pete and I believe his brother Casey. So it's a little bit different than Tatuaje, but it's under the same umbrella. And yeah, this cigar is start with a little tingle, little peppery tingle, which is super cool. I mean, not harsh. I like when you have pepper just to tingle your tongue, your mouth, your receptors, but didn't overpower it. And of course, if you smoke My Father cigars, 9 out of 10 there will be some pepper there. Some occasions the pepper is way too much, but in this one specifically, just the start is just so good. Right, let's have a look on the chat. Robert Norris on YouTube. How was my Padron yesterday? He have a 1926 number 6 Maduro, which was beautiful and very strong. Honestly, the Padron, I'm going to talk a little bit later about this specific Padron, but the Padron was absolutely phenomenal. So, everything you need. Again, I'm not going to concentrate too much now on the Padron. Towards the end of the show, I'm going to talk about the Padron because that's actually the best cigar I smoked in the past week. So I'm gonna refer a little bit later than that. Apex, good to see you and happy that you start with the questions earlier. Okay, this is a question which I promise not to answer because I did a whole video about it. So if you look at the channel, I have only few videos which are not lives. One of them is actually my opinion of difference between plum and malt. I can tell it here again. I don't care what people think. This is my show, so I can tell whatever I want. Is there a difference between plum and malt? Yes, in my opinion, yes, 100%. But most of the time when you see something white on the cigars, people think, oh, it's a plum or it's a good. No, it's not. It's malt. Plum is very, very, very extremely rare occasion on the cigars. You need decades to have this crystallization. So some people say this crystallization is malt. Well, I don't think it's malt. It's a crystal. It look like a sugar, like a salt. Well, not the sugar, smaller than sugar, like a salt. And when you move the cigar, it fell. It's like a dust on top of the cigars. I mean, I've never seen a mold which do that kind of stuff. And they say, oh, if you look under the microscope, there was a studies and stuff which can tell you this is mold. Well, I'm pretty sure if you look under the proper microscopes, most of the organic materials are mold. So it's very, very different than the traditional mold. Again, this is not sticky, it's not wet, it doesn't stay on the cigar. You need decades. I don't think you can see it on a cigar which is less than 20, 30 years old. So you can see it on very, very old cigars which not been touched, because once you start moving the boxes, sometimes people check the condition of the cigar. They lift the boxes, you move it, this one disappear. It's not just staying on top of the cigar. I have occasions where I move a cigars with this one, and I was so happy. I want to make a pictures, I want to make video. The moment I lift the box, I move the cigars, it just fell on the bottom of the box. So is it sign of a poor fermentation? No, I don't think the fermentation have anything to do with with plume or malt or anything like that. Even if it's malt or whatever, fermentation have nothing to do. The malt appear when it's way too humid. So, or when the tobacco is a little bit too humid, but that's more rare occasion. So the whole process of having malt on the cigars is you let them in the humid condition for longer, no fresh air, maybe the temperature is a little bit higher. That's why you have mold growing on the cigars. I hope this answered the question. Again, if you want to learn more about it, I did about 20 minutes video explaining everything in the channel. Again, this was one of the few videos I post probably a year ago, maybe not a year, but close to a year, something like that. Have a look on the channel. I given examples from some other people's opinion as well. So yeah. Hey Dexter, good to see you on the channel. Finally try LFD Lanox this weekend. Phenomenal smoke, my favorite out of the Sunster blends. Yes, Lanox is good. I think Lanox, if you put the three blends, Lanox, La Vulcada, maybe the Sulita, that's what referring as the third one. I think that the Sulita is actually a Litus Junior blend, not Tony. But all three of them are very good. Maybe Lanox have a slight advantage than the La Vulcada in my opinion, but the Sulita beat those two it's again in my opinion. I don't know why I keep repeating in my opinion. Of course, it's my opinion. I think Sulita is better performing than La Vulcada and Lanox, but all three of them are beautiful, beautiful smokes. Right. The cigar starts beautifully. One issue I noticed with the Advent calendar, I have two Advent calendars on purpose so I can have two cigars of each. I notice majority of the cigars in those Advent calendar have a construction issues. Some of the blends I've smoked in the different sizes, they're perfect, but when you have it in this size, for some reason, it doesn't work very well. This one, I reckon there will be an issue with this one as well. There's already a slight hole in the middle. I don't know if you can see it. Probably can't see it. It's too small to see it on that camera, but there will be issues with this one. Feels hotter than usual. I reckon doesn't burn perfectly in the middle, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. Right, what I have in my cup of tea. My cup of tea tonight is nothing too shabby, too fancy. It's lemon and ginger. It's one of the very refreshing style teas. I like it occasionally, not all the time. When it's too much ginger, and when I consume too much ginger, my palate doesn't vibe very well. But occasionally, I like to have lemon and ginger to refresh my palate and switch off. So today, this is like third cup of tea, and it's all lemon and ginger, and yeah, I'm refreshing literally at the moment. I think will pair nice with the cigar. Will give you a hint of a little bit more spiciness. So smoking an Oscar Valladares Superfly, great cigar. Apex, continue with the questions. If a cigar is frozen to kill beetles, what's the precise safe protocol to returning it to say 65 humidity environment without causing the wrapper to fracture from rapid moisture? I'll tell you that when you freeze the cigar, it doesn't mean it's 100% humidity. It's not water. It's humid, but it's not 100%. I haven't measured it actually. I need to freeze the cigar and see what's the humidity when you take it out of the freezer. But you can literally take it out of the freezer and put it back to your humidor without any issue. So you're not gonna smoke this cigar. You're not gonna throw it in 45 degrees temperature where it might cause some cracking. So the problem is if you start smoking straight away, the heat might cause some issues to crack the cigar, but nothing to worry about of cracking the cigar or anything. And I'll give you an example. So every cigar, so I'm not sure where you're based, Apex. I reckon you are in UK. Every cigar you smoke in UK, if you buy it from UK, it's been at least twice rapid frozen to minus 40, minus 50 Celsius before it come into your hands. And if you think all of those deep frozen, rapid frozen procedures, after that they slowly put them into a different humidity until they ship them, no. So the cigars usually, the most of the well-known cigar brands, they defroze the cigars in their factory or in the hub. Usually that's DR, Nicaragua, Miami sometimes. So they have a massive container size freezers where they put everything for like a day or 2 days. They frozen everything to make sure there's no contamination. They send it over. Also, majority of the cigars coming to Europe, including UK, not everything, but I can say 90% and I'm talking about from all the different regions, they land to a hub in Germany. And this hub is well known that they froze every single shipment with cigars or tobacco in their freezers. So literally the same thing. They frozen everything for another 48 hours and then they distribute them to whatever country, brands, warehouses, could be anything. So if you buy cigars from UK, they've already been frozen at least twice. The only problem you can have with that kind of cigars having beetles or contamination is if you buy them directly from some countries of origin, like if you're on a holiday in DR or Nicaragua or Cuba, you buy some cigars, doesn't matter brand or not branded or whatever, and they might have some contamination. So at the end of the day, feel free to put it back in your on your humidor and you have no issues. Right, that was the starting section with a few good questions. I love the questions, so feel free, even if I'm talking about something else, in some moment I will go back to the question and I will try to answer. Usually Jekyll is not one of my favorite monsters, but this one smoke actually very, very nice. Surprisingly good, Jason. I remember them lighter than what this is feel. Maybe, I don't know. It's not my first cigar today. I smoked 2 cigars. One of them was significantly stronger than that one, so I don't think it's my palate, but it feel a little bit heavier. Not on harshness, it's just nicotine wise. Okay, I think it's time to move to the news section. There's not a lot of news this week. There's a few stuff I pick up for you, which I can give my opinion and I can discuss. Couple releases and some anecdotal style news. The first one, there's a release announcement of Rocky Patel, Year of the Horse. Another brand jumping into the Year of something cigars. Honestly, for some reason, I missed that Rocky producing those year of Chinese Zodiac. It's like the third or fourth year they're producing those. I think it's. I mean, I don't know. I feel it's a late. I know it's the Chinese New Year is literally, I don't know, now or in the next weeks. I think it's somewhere around this month. I think it's a little bit late. I mean, usually all the people announce it and release it months in advance. Even Habanos released it earlier. And now, if you release in a year of the horse in February, if you're a little bit late, who knows? The cigar itself, Churchill 748, so slightly thicker Churchill, Mexican San Andres, Nicaraguan binder, pure Nicaragua, Honduran, $35 cigar. I mean, this is one of the expensive Rockies. Rocky is usually not one of the brands where they do very expensive cigars. Except the $100 cigar. They released a $100 cigar, which I don't think was a massive success. But Rockies, except with a very, very few exceptions, they don't do very expensive cigars. So seeing them producing $30 cigar, it's a little bit strange. So again, we'll see. I have no idea how this cigar will be reacted, how this cigar will be appreciated or anything. There will be official release in New Orleans on the PCA, which is in 2 months' time. We'll see the feedback from that one. Right, another great question from Apex. Apex, you are on fire today. While many say box pressing is aesthetic, can you explain the specific mechanical effect of the box pressing process and has on the Seco, Volado leaves that potentially alters the overall burn speed? Okay. I mean, nobody says there's a Seco and Volado in the box press, first of all. Seco and Volado, those are primings. So you can have, you don't know how many Secos. That's very, very unusual brand to tell you how many Secos or Volados have in the blend. Even if it's like super open blend, they will say, oh, the leaves are from this region, but actually name it for Seco Volado, Ligero. It's very unusual. So I don't think anyone can give you an answer on specific on the Seco and Volado, how they alters with the overall burn speed and stuff. The box press, the idea of the box press, in my opinion, it's mostly aesthetic as well. The thing is, when you have let's say a 50 ring gauge box, 50 ring gauge round cigar, and you have 50 ring gauge box press, the box press is actually bigger. They use bigger mold with less tobacco, so when you box press it to not crack the cigar. So you need the box press cigars are actually round cigars. In the factories, they have a specific molds which make them box press, or even hexagon, like in the Plasencia, Alec Bradley have the triangle style cigar. So they use specific molds, but the cigars need to be underfilled so you can actually press it. Even if you see, for example, if you get the Plasencia Almafuerte Robusto, it's a very nice and elegant box press. But when you look at like 90% of those, I smoke a lot of this cigar. When you look at the corners on the box press, you see how there's excessive tobacco there, which just been squeezed. It's a lot of wrinkles around the box press. So that's because they need to have an excessive tobacco, so we'll be able to compress it and box press it. For me, it's mostly aesthetic. I don't feel the box press cigars burn too fast compared to round ones. I mean, they can burn too fast if there's even less tobacco than what should be. But that's the same with the round cigar. So every Parejo round cigar, if it's underfilled, it burns faster. Same with the box press. Box press is, if it's properly made, is not underfilled. I know I mentioned you put less tobacco, but you put less tobacco for the ring gauge. But if you want to create 50 ring gauge, I mean, that sounds very complicated. Apologies on that. I try to explain it. If the cigar is 50, if you want to make a 50 ring gauge cigar, box press, you need to be at least 52, maybe even more when you roll it, with less tobacco. So when you compress it, become 50. So I hope that sounds better. And yeah, if it's underfilled, will burn faster. Doesn't matter the box press, the situation, the Perfecto, the Torpedo, Pyramid, the Parejo, whatever the size Lancero, underfilling always burn fast. And that pisses me off often. Earlier today, I smoked underfilled cigar and it was just soft. When you're smoking, it feels very soft. The other thing with the box press is sometimes around the head, it's not very well filled. I believe it's because of the pressing and the compression into the square form or rectangle or whatever. And the head is not massively filled. And when you smoke and when you go to the let's say last third, last quarter of the cigar, very often it's just super soft because of the underfill section, and it just ruins a little bit of the experience. You can't just finish it like a parejo, finish to the nub and still smoke, still can make a puff without leaves falling everywhere. So yeah, I think in my opinion, there's not much of a difference purely for the smoker from box press and round press. I like box press cigars, the way they feel in my hand, but most likely, most of the times when I have a box press cigar, there's a disappointment when you go to the last part. So let's say I like box press in the first and second third. Last third, parejos feel much better. Well, Apex question is, if a roller accidentally places the ligero leaf too far on the foot instead of the center of the bunch, how does this affect the combustion rate and flavor progression to the first third? I mean, the ligero. Let me see if I can understand the question correct. You mean closer to the foot, but the ligero, you put them vertically. You don't put them. If you have the cigar, the leaves is literally the leaves are that way, not that way. So if you put it closer to the foot, that you will be closer literally the whole way, maybe, if I understand it right. Every time you mess up the ligero and it's not centralized, so the ligero should be in the middle. You put everything around the ligero, and if the ligero is on the side, close to the side of the cigar, left, right, doesn't matter. Always can, most of 99% of the time will cause issues. The burn will be the biggest problem first. So the cigar can taste very well. I have few examples in the last few days where cigars just burn like cone. Keep burning literally one-sided. Instead of burning really nice line, you keep burning that way or that way. And even if you touch, literally put fire here, chat it, cut it, and it's still burning that way. This means the ligero is pretty much on one of the sides of the cigar, and it just, because it's so thick, the rest of the tobacco burn faster and doesn't burn in a perfect, peak or perfect cone. It's just burning only one-sided. So it can cause problems with the flavors and aromas. Depend how bad is it. Most of the time, it shouldn't cause massive problems on the flavors and aromas because it's the same blend you burn in. It's not like one leaf less or one extra leaf. It's just pissing off when you burn in and one of the sides go like an inch ahead of the other one, and it just doesn't look nice. In some moment, you might start feel bitter because that burning can cause an issue later in the process, not in the first third. I mean, the first third, if it tastes bad, it's not because of the ligero. It's just bad position cigar, or maybe the blend is not right. Hey, Epicurean, join as well. S recommend the punch cut on a box press. I mean, if you like punch cut, yeah, of course. I mean, I very rarely argue with people about the cut. If you like punch, do punch. I don't use punch cut very often. Sometimes maybe I should, but I'm an old school. I like straight cut. I got scissors, whatever, guillotines. Doesn't matter. It's yeah. Dexter's doesn't like very sharp, proper box press. Again, I don't mind them. If it's well made box press, they even burn slower. I feel they burn very slow and look nice when it's a proper burn line, but when it's under, not a proper combustion. Instagram, Rion Cigars. Just saw the Plasencia Red Salomon we smoked with Usman. Year of the Ox. Yeah, that was ages ago. It must be 3-4 years ago. We did a live show smoking this cigar. I don't think we both liked the cigar. It was a shame because it was actually sent to us by a fan. we used to have some people which send us cigars to try, and we did that to appreciate the gift we have from this guy. But yeah, it wasn't phenomenal cigar. It was very expensive for the time. They're still expensive, but back in the time they were 3 times more than some of the regular cigars. So yeah, it wasn't a great experience. Apex, where did you get in those questions, mate? Okay. During the aging, what chemical reactions occurring to convert nitrogen compounds into smoother compounds? And how does the rate of this process differ between Nicaraguan ligero and Cuban seco? I don't think I understand the question. I mean, why we do compare Nicaraguan ligero and Cuban seco? I mean, they're different primings of a different strains of a different types of tobacco. I mean, I don't think you can compare that. It's like compare apples and pears, or I don't know, apricots and peaches. It's look the same, but they're not the same. So I don't know. I've never believed someone would send me a question which I would not get, and I will struggle to answer. But honestly, I don't know how to answer on that. I mean, process difference between the Nicaraguan and ligero, and also Nicaraguan ligero can be lots of different tobacco. Cuban seco as well. There are a few different Cuban different tobaccos. You know, Cuba uses. I mean, probably you already know that one, but Habano 2000, Corojo Criollo with all the years 98, 99, 2010, etc. Those are all different tobaccos, and the different qualities, different flavors and aromas. And Nicaraguan ligero can be ligero from Esteli, ligero from Condega, ligero from Jalapa. They all taste different. Also can be Nicaraguan Habano, can be Nicaraguan maybe Corojo grown, maybe Nicaraguan Criollo. They're all different. Nicaraguan broadleaf as well. It's very different. Anyway, moving on. Shoot the questions. I mean, I don't mind the questions, but unfortunately, I don't think I can answer on this one. I don't think anyone can answer. It's a very unusual question. Next one is news. Another release. Casa Carrillo launching a new Pledge Purple. That's a new one. So Pledge, one of the highest, most high-ranking cigar from Cigar Aficionado, crazy ratings. Now Casa Carrillo decide to re-release or maybe tweak the blend a little bit, still keep the name Pledge, call it Purple. So what they did, they used the original wrapper, which is almost, I don't know, 7-8 years old. Under that, there's a new combination of Mexican binder and Nicaraguan fillers from Condega, Esteli, and Ometepe. As literally, that's what I said on the previous question with Apex. Nicaraguan fillers, there are 3 different regions here. They're all fillers would give you completely different vibe. But as usual, okay, the company doesn't mention what kind of fillers. They'll tell you Condega, Esteli, Ometepe. So you have Esteli, which is spicy, can be a little bit harsh. You have the Ometepe, which give you that spiciness as well, but also sweetness, creaminess. And you have the Condega, which is nice, mellow, honey, butter. And that's it. They didn't mention was the Viso, Seco, Ligero. Maybe the Ligero is from Esteli. Usually people use Esteli Ligero. Maybe it's Ometepe. I mean, Ometepe is not is one of actually the 4th region in Nicaragua, but it's very low production. So lots of people put in Ometepe. I'm not sure if all of those people can actually use Ometepe because Ometepe is very hard to get. But yeah, the interesting thing on this cigar, 6x54 Toro, so not a small size or anything, only 3,500 boxes. So it will be very interesting if you smoke it back to back. If I have the opportunity, to get one of those and do it back to back, see what will be the difference between the new one and the old one, especially if you have a Pledge new production. I mean, literally fresh. Smoke it with some of that one. See back to back or together, even light both cigars together. See how they feel. Epicurean, love this the question. If I was a tobacco, what hybrid and priming would I be? Never anyone asked me this question. If I'm with tobacco, I will be, I don't know. That sounds weird. I'll be probably Connecticut broadleaf, sun grown. I'm a little bit darker. I don't like the sun, but I don't, I get a little bit brown on the sun. That's it. I'm very spicy person. I'm usually, you see me as someone who talk about cigars and stuff, but I can be very spicy. So I don't know. That's a cool question. I haven't think about it. Let's say I'm a top priming, high priming Connecticut broadleaf, wrapper, something like that. Who knows? Instagram. We have question from Brother of the Leaf KCR. Opinion of Davidoff Chef 2025 worth. I haven't smoked the Chef Edition 2025. I cannot tell you how good or bad is the cigar. I smoked the previous Chef Edition, which for me was very, very good Davidoff. I believe the Chef Editions are quite good cigars. Is it worth? That's a question where for everyone can be different. For me, I don't like to pay that kind of money for cigars. But if you don't mind the price, maybe if you, let's say, your regular smokes are $50, $60, $100, maybe it's worth it. But if it's a cigar which is more expensive than your usual, what you pay for cigars, you need to consider it. Easy will be a special occasion. It's a big cigar. Came in a beautiful boxes. I mean, if you want to buy a box, it's a beautiful box. I'll tell you that. I've talked about a box earlier in the show, a few weeks ago when they were released it. Beautiful looking box. Usually, without being, I've smoked the cigar. I'm pretty sure it's a good cigar. It's been in a lot of rankings. I mean, some of the people on the YouTube at the moment, I'm pretty sure they put him in their personal top 25, so top 10s in the past year. He's been in one of the most selected Davidoffs of the overall consensus in a different medias. So maybe worth it. Again, it's a question when somebody asks me, is it worth that one? For me, it's too expensive. Even if it's very good smoke, I can still probably find $15, $20 cigars which are phenomenal smokes, and not paying the Chef's Edition, which is I think 3 times the price of that. Question from Robert on YouTube. My thoughts on the Foundation Charter Oaks. I think Charter Oak for the price is a very, very good cigar. I like the Maduro. The Habano is not bad. I'm not massive fan of the Connecticut. Connecticut feels a little bit too grassy for me. But the Maduro and the Habano, beautiful smokes. They do a very elegant size. I think they have Corona Gorda, Rothschild, so nice, cool sizes. One of the cheapest Foundation. It's Foundation at the end of the day, so it's not like some unknown brand or anything. It's one of their budget lines, but yeah, go for it. If you ask me, it's always can be a perfect daily rotated smoke. Right, and the last piece of news for this week. Again, we need to add a little bit of a spicy politics into the chat. Or I can say this with the I can try to say it with the Russian accent. We can add a little bit of spicy news in the chat. No, it doesn't sound that. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Trump announces new 15% tariffs, which will affect most of the cigar imports. So, I was following this news for months and months with all those ideas Trump have adding the tariffs, change the tariffs million times, all the different countries, different tariffs, and because he doesn't like the color of the flag or something like that. Now the last news, it's obviously the one of the courts in the US overruled his tariffs, but he get angry decision after that and says, you know what, I don't give a crap, I'm the American president and I'm going to put another 15% to all the countries, which actually for Nicaragua work in their benefit, because Nicaragua used to be 18%, I think, so now Nicaragua will have 3% less tariff, but for the other countries actually will be more. Honduran is more, the Dominican Republic is more, even the other countries. it's again, this guy is mental. It's so he doesn't follow any rules or anything. I'm not sure how he can enforce those rules, because obviously if the court and the government says no, you says yes. It will be fun to watch, but we'll see. Question on Instagram, Brother of Leaf. Any questions? Why? Any reasons why Atabe is difficult to find in Europe? I don't think Atabe have lots of distribution in Europe. First of all, I saw Atabe and Nestor Alfonso. He has a stunt on Dortmund Intertabak last year in September, so that's the first time he have actually stunt with. It was a massive stunt. You know, the guy invested a lot of to getting into the biggest tobacco trade show and present himself there. I reckon probably there will be quite a few countries interested into the brands and bring him to Europe. I'm not sure how they're gonna sell. I mean, there will be expensive cigars there. Atabe specifically is very expensive cigar, even in US. And I'm not sure how you're gonna go with the name. If there are gonna be any issues with the name Atabe. I mean, why I'm saying that, I know Habano's supposed to release literally now on the festival cigar with the name Atabe, and usually every Cuban cigar is protected and nobody can release any other cigar with the same name. Obviously, Habanos will not release the Habanos will not release any Atabe at the moment, because the festival was being postponed or cancelled. So I don't know when they're gonna actually release this new Cuiba, and if that will clash with the name Atabe, is that gonna cause any issues on the Atabe? But the main reason there's no distributions, I know Nestor Alfonso, he have a warehouse in Spain. You know, what he's doing, he producing all the cigars in his company, like Atabe, Byron, Bandoleros, those are all the same company. He produced them in Costa Rica. I think they moved. Then after that, he moved them to Spain to age in some warehouse with specific conditions, and then he moved them back to US or whatever. Maybe that's why the price is expensive. But who knows? Maybe now with the Intertabac, we'll see more and more countries which sell. And I think Atabe might start selling in Eastern Europe. 90, I don't want to say 100%, but I think I saw them registered in Bulgaria. Maybe some of the surrounding countries, they will have them too. I won't be surprised if Germany also jump on the bandwagon and get the Atabe. Again, they will be pricey. I mean, I reckon at least $10, $12, $15 on top on what they are in the US. Who knows? Rayon cigars. When you visited us in Dubai, I have no plans, but if you want me, I mean, again, it's maybe, why not? I mean, buy some of the Freud cigars so I can have a reason to go to Dubai on the company expenses, because me going on my expenses is very expensive for me. I'm a consultant. I don't have a salary and stuff, so I make money from commissions and everything like that. And yeah, if there's an interesting project, if I can find a way to sponsor myself, I can go to Dubai. I would love to go to Dubai. It's one of the destinations, cigar destinations, which I haven't been. It's an idea for me to go to Dubai eventually one day. I can't tell you when. There's nothing firm at the moment in the calendar. I hope maybe soon, but nothing in planet in the calendar at the moment. But yeah, one day. Right. That was the news section for today. As I told you, there's not a lot of newses happening nowadays. So what we have now on the what's the best and the worst smokes I have in the past week. So I'm gonna start with the worst smoke. The worst smoke I have this week, unfortunately, it's a cigar I know very well. That is Regius Reserva Toro. Unfortunately, This cigar is a very, very strange one. I know the Regius owner very well, Akio. I smoked this cigar before even the release. He was, kind enough to, when he visited me back in the time, he'd bring me some of those ones. In his opinion, he have in this cigar there's apparently a Cuban tobacco. I don't know if that's true. I mean, this is what he says. But I smoke about 10, 12 of this cigar in different sizes, Robusto, Toro. Sometimes this cigar is really good. In other occasions, it's absolute dog shit. It's very inconsistent cigar. And I believe most of my cigars are from the same batch, pretty much from the original release. And every time I tell him it's not smoking well, he takes me and say, you need time, you need to age 7, 8 months or something. Well, the one I smoked all the day was, what is now, 2 years old. It was awful smoke. It just doesn't burn. Combustion was awful. Taste very bad, metallic, acidic. It's just something I don't want to smoke again. So, yeah. Unfortunately, this was the worst smoke. I'm in a mixed feelings with this cigar. Sometimes works, sometimes no. On another aspect, the best cigar I have this week was something I smoked last night. The review is on the website, and someone already asked me in YouTube what I'm thinking about the Padron I smoked last night, and this was exactly that cigar. Padron Family Reserve number 44 Maduro, which is a 6x52 torpedo. I think this is the first time I'm smoking this specific Family Reserve. Phenomenal. It's a box press cigar. We talk about the box press cigar. This one didn't give any problems. Obviously, I didn't open it with punch cut. I did a proper it was a proper cut with the scissors, open cut, straight cut. Everything what you want from a cigar. So perfect balance, lots of flavors, aroma, construction on point. Padrons are usually a little bit loose, but this one didn't feel that loose. Maybe because it was a pointy head, the figurado head. It didn't give me that vibe of the open draw. Yeah, it wasn't too strong. I was chatting with some people last night. I told them it's a Padron Maduro Family Reserve 1964. It's quite strong punchy cigar. This one was so balanced. Maybe the age, there was a few years on that. The age mellowed down probably the sharpness of the cigar, the strain. It was perfect. So this will be one of the candidates for the best cigar of the year. I mean, I know it's just February, but who knows what I'm going to smoke until end of the year. Question on Instagram: why there's a little offering for cigars with Connecticut wrapper that have charters similar to Sobremesa Brûlée and Hoy de Nicaragua Número Uno, which taste well? I'm not getting what do you mean by charters. There's a Connecticut shade cigars, but I think the market doesn't look for those cigars. I don't know how long you've been smoker, but about 30 years ago, 99% of the cigars was Connecticut shade. Almost no one smoking dark cigars. They were too strong for the smoking time. They were too strong for the period. People doesn't smoke them. Nowadays, people maybe wants the darker one. They look more attractive. They look more appealing. There's a much more brands now producing stronger looking cigars without being stronger. They just look darker and heavier, but they're not. If you find the Connecticut shades, Sobremesa is a good example. Numero Uno is even better. For me, Numero Uno is one of the best Connecticut shade cigars. Davidoff have a few options. If you like lighter stuff, Davidoff Aniversario, Grand Cru, beautiful mild smokes. Mild Gran Habano, blue and green. That actually I smoked it a few days ago, and it's phenomenal Connecticut cigar as well. I mean, the more I think, the more examples I'll give you. Plasencia have the Reserva Original, which is fairly mild and very interesting cigar. Some people can say Padron de Maso. For me, the Maso is a good cigar. but it's not Padron style cigar. That's why we always joke with some of my friends. It's the Masu can be good if it's not a Padron, because when you smoke a Padron, you expect something specific there, and the Masu don't have that one. It's a great Connecticut cigar, but doesn't give the vibe of the Padron. Also, Southern Draw Rose of Sharon. It's beautiful, beautiful Connecticut. Super tasty, super interesting cigar. But yeah, I can probably find more. Highclere Castle is a great Connecticut cigar from Foundation. Boy, Apex Marine is on fire today. I love it. Can an expert truly distinguish a puro from a multi-country blend in a blind taste set? And at what point does the processing override the natural soil profile? Yes, if there's some people can distinguish what's the tobacco in the countries, very few, and someone to guess every single tobacco in a cigar, that not a lot of people in the world can do that. I know I'd watch a video, it's probably 10 years old, maybe less than 10, but around 10 years old. I watched a video with Dion Giolito, or Dion Giolito, I'm not sure how you pronounce the surname, the guy from Illusione. In my opinion, he's have phenomenal palate. So someone passed him a cigar. The video is from one of the trade shows. Someone passed him a cigar, blind, no label, no band, nothing. He make a puffs, then he deconstruct the cigar. He make some more puffs, light the tobacco smell. He managed to guess 5 of the leaves. He didn't guess one of the leaves, without knowing what they are. He just mentioned what's the strain, where is it coming from, etc., etc. So I believe there's a people which can guess that. Not a lot, but probably there. Jacob think Apex is an AI. Okay. Maybe. Why is the figurado considered the ultimate test of a master roller? And how does the internal bunching method differ, ensure a consistent draw through a tappet head? I mean, figurado, if you talk about figurado figurado can be torpedo, double figurado, Salomon, anything which is not with a standard parejo head. I mean, I don't think it's the ultimate taste about the master roller. I think the ultimate taste is Lancero. Lancero is harder to roll than double figurados, in my opinion. With the double figurados, you can easily roll the figurado and just put the same on the bottom, just squeeze it or put another piece of leaf. If you look at the double figurados, most likely they have another piece of leaf on the bottom just to cover the bunch. The draw, it's most of the companies have a draw quality control, and they all go through draw quality control, and that way you have no problems with the draw. With the Lancero is more complicated because you can twist the whole blend, because it's such a thin vitola, usually 30 ring gauge with the 30s, 33, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, I need to do it again. 6, 7, 38, 39. It's usually very easy to twist it when you bunch it, when you put it in the molds, and that's why for me the ultimate draw test is actually Lancero, not a figurado. I mean, there's almost every company in the world do figurados, but not every company do Lanceros. That's why I like to say, if you're a proper master blender, roller, producer, you need to do a Lancero. That's the test for your skills. Do you have a rollers which can roll a Lancero? Even companies, some of the companies which doesn't have Lanceros, it's very complicated for them to do a Lancero. When I was I'll give you an example. When I visit Nick Perdomo's factory in Nicaragua, I'm always joking with him. I want a Lancero. He told me before I visit the factory, hey, if you one day come to Nicaragua, you come to my factory, I will make sure you have Lanceros. I did it. I go to the factory, I remind him, hey, where is the Lancero? I want to smoke a Lancero, and you promised me. So he actually asked the only person in the factory he's capable of rolling Lancero, and that was his El Jefe, the lady who is responsible for all the operation in the factory, an ex roller. I think she was ex-Cuban as well. She used to roll Lanceros back in the time. And he asked her, she wasn't very happy, but they produced me 2 Lanceros. I still hasn't smoked any of them, but yeah, I think the Lancero is the actual test. Tolko asked about what about Oliva. Oliva, Connecticut is actually a very, very good shout. I forgot about it, but as I said, there will be so many Connecticut's. I mean, top of my head, the ones I recently smoked. That's why I mentioned those onto the Instagram audience. But yeah, Oliva, Connecticut, it's a very, very successful Connecticut in my opinion. I prefer Oliva, Connecticut than Oliva Serie V, 100%. I know Serie V is like favorite for almost every smoker in the world. Well, not for me. I prefer Serie O, Connecticut, Serie G, than the Serie V. My opinion. Sorry. Right. No, Serie O is not the Connecticut. The Connecticut is just Connecticut. Oliva, Connecticut. Serie O is different. Apex have no more question. No problem, mate. No problem. I love the questions. I'm sorry I didn't answer to all the questions, but again, I need more research to the one question I didn't answer. I maybe didn't understand it. That's why I didn't answer it correctly. And I need to research on that one. Honestly, I sometimes I didn't expect a lot, but sometimes people can surprise me. Right. Now, I mean, it's almost 9 o'clock. I was thinking today would be a quick show, but I even haven't started with the cigars next to me. And of course, I have something prepared for you. So let's talk about that. By the way, the cigar smoked perfectly. I told you it might have a construction issues. There was a hole which disappeared. I think the hole was just very small. Didn't affect any of the quality of the cigar. Smoked perfectly. Yes, Jacob. Right. Now, the section where we talk about the cigars from the vault. Finally, we are moving to the letter M. And we're starting with the cigars with the letter M. Brands with the letter M. And we're going to start probably with one of the most iconic cigar brands in the world of existing of cigars. And this is Macanudo. Nowadays, Macanudo is not what's supposed to be, what used to be. But Macanudo, it's a brand with lots of history. There's some notes and some references that Macanudo actually started in Cuba before he moved to the different countries. I haven't found any box or bands of real information that Macanudo started in Cuba. You know, there's information it used to be pre-revolution brand. Again, I haven't found. I read it in a few different places, but there's no viable, confirmation on that. There's no proof of that. So it might be true, it might be not. But I know Macanudo we know now as a brand, start in Jamaica. You know my weakness of the Jamaican cigars, and Macanudo is well known for the cigars they made in Jamaica in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s. It was a power horse. They start making them in Temple Hall factory. I managed to smoke quite a lot Jamaican cigars. Later, to go down the Macanudo, managed to move to Dominican Republic. So this one here is my only one left from Jamaica. This is a Jamaican Macanudo. The difference is on the band, there's additional letters and symbols added later to when they moved to DR and to the other countries. But this one specific one, made in Jamaica, I reckon around the 70s, maybe late 80s. Then Macanudo moved to the Dominican Republic, and that's where the boom started. Macanudo was the power horse in the 90s, 80s, 90s, maybe late 90s even. It was the most selling cigar around the world. I'm pretty sure it's one of the most selling cigars nowadays as well, but it used to be literally the most selling brand everywhere you go. In my hand, I have one of the most interesting, iconic, beautiful boxes of cigars. I usually don't have lots of interesting. I mean, I have lots of cigars, but not cool as this one. And I'm very, very happy when I'm talking about this one. So this is Macanudo Vintage 1997. Macanudo have a vintage selection where they're using very old tobacco, and this one is probably the most interesting one. So Macanudo Vintage 1997. Box is nice. I mean, it's a beautiful metal sign here, but the cigar is even more cool. I mean, inside the box you have a message from the gentleman who is like a vice president of operations of the company who made them. In the box is lots of dividers and all kind of stuff, and then the cigars. This is the Perfecto. They came in a few different sizes. The cigar itself looks like that. It's a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper with the metal ring. Look at the size of this one. It's a proper metal ring instead of band. It's heavy because of the ring. The cigar itself look very cool. I mean, you cannot take off the ring before you start smoking the cigar. I've tried. I damaged some cigars. The ring is so thick, squeezing the cigar even looks like the cigar is squeezed here. And the only way to start remove the ring is when you start smoking. When you go to the ring, the cigar softens and you can pull out the ring. There's no other way to remove this ring. But it's one of the most interesting cigars. Again, this is a double Perfecto with a very pointy head, not completely sealed on the food. And if you can find this cigar, just buy them. They don't make them anymore. They're very special cigars in my opinion. They're one of the precious ones. I don't give those to everyone. I don't share those with everyone. But yeah, it's a very cool looking cigar. Very interesting one. There's a question from Brother of the Leaf. Is it me or my father Le Bijou is the worst of my father portfolio? The people says, for some people, if something is rubbish, for other people, it's a gem. My father Le Bijou, I think when they released the Le Bijou, if I'm not wrong, what was it, 2017 maybe? I mean, I think it was maybe earlier, 2015, 17, something like that. Le Bijou was very nice cigar. I smoked quite a lot when they released them. I was loving this cigar. Further down the line, I think they changed something in the blend. Every other Le Bijou I smoke after that is just not the same. In my opinion, it's a different blend. Just my opinion. Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's you might think different, but I think after the original release of La Bijou, the first few years when there was a very popular cigar, that they changed it now, and I don't think it's the best cigar of the year. A few years ago, Cigar Aficionado give it like #1 best cigar of the year. I don't think it's that. Current portfolio of my father definitely is not my pick. I would go for a few different options, but not Le Bijou. But there's a people who like it. I mean, if it's #1 cigar, probably is very popular as well. Right. The next brand I want to mention. It's a very, very cool looking brand. So this is Manowar or Manowar. Brand which I think is made exclusively for a shop in the US, one of the biggest chains. Cigars itself are made by AJ Fernandez, and most of the Manowars are very decent smoke. I think they're not expensive. They're actually very budget cigars, and if you consider price and quality and what is it, it's a very successful ratio. I'm not sure what's exact history on the Manowar. I think again, I'm not sure. I don't know when they start. Must be 10 years, maybe more, as a shop exclusive. I think they're still pretty much shop exclusive in the US. But if you can find some, smoke them. I think they're interesting cigars. They deserve the love. Right, there's a question on Instagram, YouTube. Do you think Habanos is going to bounce back from its geopolitical disaster? Should we stock cleaning on the cigars or sitting in inventory? And this is the end of the Habanos as we know it. It's a very, very complicated question. I think I tried to talk a little bit about that last week or week before. I will separate the question. Do I think Habanos can bounce back from this geopolitical disaster? I don't think Habanos can change anything in this politics. It's the Cuban government, and Habanos is not Cuban government. It's Cuba Tobacco. Habanos is just a distributor of the Cuban cigars. So I don't think Habanos have anything to do with that. They just follow orders. Should we stockpiling on the cigars or sitting on inventory? Hey, I've said that all the time. If you buy a cigar now, and if you buy the same cigar in 5 days, or maybe 5 weeks, or 5 months, it will be more expensive to buy it then. The cigars, especially the Cuban cigars, will never be cheaper than what we buy them now. If you have the money, if you want to invest, buy. Even if you buy regular productions, they will be cheaper than what will be next year, or in 3 years, or in 5 years. Is it worth investing? Some cigars can worth investing, but if you want to stockpiling for yourself to make sure you can enjoy your favorite cigars in the future, yeah, do it 100%. Is this the end of Habanos as we know it? I think yes. I think the way we know Habanos nowadays, the way we smoke the Cuban cigars, the way they produce the Cuban cigars, it won't be the same by the end of this year. Especially if the situation doesn't change. I mean, by doesn't change, I mean the Trump keep pushing and eventually Cuba fall, the Cuban governments fall, and America took over in some form or shape. They will probably open the market, they will open the borders. People can buy Cuban tobacco, use it in a different blends. Also, some people can bring other tobacco to Cuba to produce different cigars. Even Habanos or Cuba tobacco, they might not exist in the same way they are now. So I think this will be very, very interesting year. I think the Cuban scene will change massively by the end of the year. What was the last Habanos thing following? Jacob, basically, Trump put the sanctions to every country who keep dealing with Cuba with fuel. Because of what's happened with Venezuela. Now Cuba cannot use Venezuelan fuel. They were using predominantly Venezuelan and Mexican fuel, petrol. They cannot use it anymore. And Cuba at the moment, it's a very limited supply of fuel. They says the country literally have only storage supply for the most necessary needs for the only like couple of months. Basically what Trump wants is the government to fall. If they fall, nobody knows what's going to happen. Again, it's too political. I try not to get invested that much into politics. But definitely this government, I don't think how this government will survive without fuel. No one is allowed to trade with Cuba. If you trade with Cuba, you are enemy of America. And of course, not many people wants to risk that one. So sooner or later, the government will fall. What's going to happen after that, we can all guess. I think the most logical thing is just open the border and, supply whatever you need to Cuba. That means tobacco also can be moved around. And yeah, we're going to see maybe finally proper cigars made with Cuban tobacco as a mix. Not only separate them to Cuban and the rest. That will be basically, there will be no more separation. It will be just cigars made in Cuba, made in Nicaragua, made in DR, using all kind of different tobaccos. So basically that's a short answer of what's happening in Habanos right now. Next brand, it's called Maria Mancini. It's actually a European brand, La Flor de Maria Mancini. Can't give you much more information on that one. I have this cigar for a very long time. I haven't smoked it. It's only one in my collection. Look very nice, dark. A little bit softer. It's box press. We were talking about that. That feels softer. Hopefully the pointy head will fix it. That's the brand again. look like either San Andres or maybe some dark Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan or something. Next one. It's actually a very, very old box of cigars. This is 60, 70 years old. It's a cigar brand called Mario Palomino. It is actually Jamaican, of course, made in Jamaica. Beautiful lithography. Typical. There's a even cigar without the cellophane. Typical buns for the era. Very old school Cuban style buns. Simple red, lots of red. That was their favorite color, red and gold. Inside, the cigars on 2 rows with the cedar separation in the middle. The cedar is not even one piece. That's also very old school. The cigars are not bad. I think they passed their prime. You know, they used to be full box. I smoked majority of them. Those are Royal Coronas, or like a typical Lonsdale size. Using all the stamps of the Cuban tobacco. At the bottom, it also says Claro as a style. But yeah, not much of information on that. I don't think you can find lots of information. It's one of those Jamaican brands where no exist anymore, and I don't think there's many boxes left on that around the world. Last brand for today. It's actually a very, very interesting project and idea. And this is Marzo. Marcio, it is Dominican cigar made by a very, very popular company. I mean, let me see if I can show it to both cameras. It's made by Toscano. So Toscano and Toscaneo, we all know those Italian cigars, super popular in Italy. So this is the same company making cigars in Dominican Republic. This time, a proper handmade cigar. I believe using some tobacco, some fire cured tobacco. The wrapper even looked like Toscano. I'm not gonna lie. It's very bumpy, veiny, sandpapery. Cigar feel like a big Toscano, like a thick Toscano. It doesn't smell like Toscano though, but yeah, it's made in Dominican Republic. I don't think this project exists anymore. I think it was a very, very short project. They want to make a proper handmade long filler cigar using all the different aspects of the hand rolling. But yeah, it's a fun project. I haven't smoked them yet. This is the only cigar I managed to have from those ones. I'll probably smoke it one day. Maybe leave a review on the website as well. But yeah, Marcio. It's a Toscanello made in Dominican Republic using the Toscanello tobaccos, but in the style of the Dominican cigars. Right. And with this note, this was the final piece of the topics today. So it's been a very, very fun evening. Lots of questions on both channels. I love it. I love the Apex Marine questions, even if there may be AI as someone suggests. I mean, it's fine if you're not sure how to ask a question. You want to be interactive. You want to ask questions. I mean, yeah, ask the AI what kind of question can ask me. It's always fun. I hope I managed to answer to all of them understandable, as simple as I can do. Yeah, it's been a really, really nice show. Next week is let me have a look at my calendar. It's 2nd of March. So 2nd of March, yeah, I should be on plan. There's not much. I don't have any other commitments next Monday. So if everything is okay, I should be live with another episode. Another question from Instagram. Remember a video with Usman? You said you're gonna be Cuban free soon. Are you now? What do you mean by Cuban free soon? I don't remember that. Would I mean I'm not gonna smoke Cubans? I doubt I said that one. I mean, I said maybe I will finish all my Cubans and I won't have any more Cubans. Well, I still smoke my Cubans. I still have a little bit, not a lot, but occasionally I still light a Cuban cigar. Yeah, it will take more time to be Cuban free. You know, I was joking on some of the videos that if I keep having more disappointments from Cuba, I'll probably get rid of all my Cubans. I can't just get rid of all my Cubans. It's some of those Cubans are very nice and not easy to find, and they're proper aged. And I don't want to, again, I don't want to sell them or anything. I just will smoke them eventually, and yeah. But let's say with my current temp of smoking, I have enough, maybe for my whole lifetime. You know, smoking one Cuban on every 10, 15, 20 cigars, it's not that bad. I don't have new Cubans, so if you're going to ask me some new releases Cubans, that's not going to happen. I don't buy new Cubans. I'm not interested in buying new Cubans. Some occasional smokes when I'm with friends. If someone is kind enough to give me a new Cuban or I'm on an event, of course I will enjoy it. I will light it. I will smoke it. I'll give my expression and my feedback. But I just don't go to the shops and buy Cubans anymore. It's just doesn't make sense for me. Apex, can I shout out to his wife Fifi? Yeah, of course. Hey Fifi, it's a shout out for you. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's a strange someone to watch with his wife. Watch me with his wife. That's very strange. Very kind. You know, you should bring her. If she smoke, you should bring her into the chat, or I don't know if she's interested watching my empty face, silly face, talking about product probably she doesn't enjoy. That's very cool. Very supportive, and send all the regards to Fifi. You're very cool, very supportive. I like when partners and spouse support their husbands in their hobby, even if some women, girls, or boys, or whatever the partner can be, they think it's very dangerous and not good habit to smoke. It is not. It's much worse habits than this one. So yeah, I think this is good. Yeah. Right. On this note, I wish you a very wonderful week ahead. It's almost March, my favorite time of the year. There we go. There's the people we want to shout out in the chat. There we go. Apex. Appreciate all the questions, brother. I hope you're a brother. I will see you all hopefully next Monday, 2nd of March, with another episode with me, Ray, and the Late Smoke. As usual, we will be live in the Instagram and the YouTube channel, The Late Smoke. In the meantime, like all my posts, keep going into the website, thelatesmoke.com. That's where I'm posting and I'm active. Also my social media. I'll try to keep doing what I'm doing, reviews, some interesting articles as usual. Don't forget to smoke your cigars. Don't just keep them and smoke them in your storage, humidors, lockers, whatever. They are for smoking, not for keeping and not enjoying. And yeah, on this note, good night. I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.